She is here with us to share the promises I made to myself. She's a corporate executive, a corporate veteran in the healthcare industry, and she is one of the most grounded and centered spiritual beings that I've had the pleasure of not only meeting, but working with. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and join me in welcoming Miss Jodi Hinkle.
Hi, everybody. I will. Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon. I'm Jodi Hinkle, and I'm the proud founder of Her Quest and a member of Women's Prosperity Network. And thank you to Trish, Nancy, and Susan for the opportunity to be here. Women's Prosperity Network has enhanced my life in many ways, and I bet many of you can agree with that. Oh, I love the feeling of cumulative learning. Lessons layered upon lessons, weaving itself into what I already know in a way that I get to understand something new, something old and familiar, experienced in a new way. And that's what today is all about. That's what this weekend is all about. And I believe that when we pause long enough to take a look at the influences that have shaped our perspective, and then we choose to joy as the primary quest in life, that our life gets better and better. And so I'm going to share a few examples with you about the influences in my life in hopes that it might help you remember who influenced your perspective of the world, right? The scout leaders, the teachers, the coaches maybe of our young years, and then the entertainment industry and the media, and then the influential leaders that came before us, in hopes that you too will remember the promises that you made to yourself along the way. So I like the word joy, the kind of joy that comes from reaching for curiosity, the spark of curiosity, and stepping into something unfamiliar, diversity, and rediscovering the joy of life that way. Let's pause for a second and talk about the power of influence. How many of you have been to a class where you're the student, not the teacher, and you have to demonstrate your new learning in some way that's public? Kind of intimidating, right? But you got through it, reached beyond the trepidation, and did it anyway? Can you relate? My best story of this is learning how to ski. 7th grade, school bus trip, and I thought I would be fine. But I got there, and the boys, who I was trying to impress at the time, were careening down the mountainside, having no trouble. And I did try to ski, but I only tried once. Once. I got some speed up coming down, and I couldn't stop. And so I fell on purpose, spiraled out of control, and was mortified. I took my skis off, I walked down the rest of the mountain, and went in the lounge and sat for the whole rest of the day while everybody else was having fun. I was not going to go back out there. No way. And so 30 years later, I had new motivation and a new boyfriend who was an avid skier. And I tried to take that route of, I don't like to be cold. And so he promptly went out and bought me everything that I would be warm in. And I realized if I wanted to be with this guy, I was going to have to learn to ski. He skied like 3-4 days a month. I mean, a lot. And so I humbled my pride, and I took some lessons, and I gave myself some practice and some patience, and I did it. I learned to ski. The first time I went down an intermediate trail, I was halfway down, stopped and looked up, and it looked like Mount Everest. It did. And I got this amazing feeling of accomplishment. And I felt invincible, right? Can anybody remember a time that they felt invincible? Maybe you learned something new. Maybe you extrapolated yourself from something that had been plaguing you for a while. But you got that feeling of invincibility and accomplishment. And so when I want to shift something in my life today, I reach for that invincibility right down to my very core. And I remember the power of that. It's like awestruck, right? Getting to the other side of extrapolating yourself and evolving into something new. And so let's talk for a minute about the promises that I made to myself. But first, glancing at our circles of influence. The first, our families. I'm from a sibling. I have 5 siblings, and we grew up on a little family farm. My parents were very hardworking, and my mother made magic at our birthday parties. She gave us all handmade, homemade fairy wands, a stick, tinfoil, and cardboard. And every one of us felt like princesses. She made us feel like life was magical, right? And then life went on, and we had to step outside of our homes into school and the other kinds of authority figures, and they all started to have influence on us. And here I am, 6 years old in kindergarten, very afraid. I was a scaredy cat. I wanted what was familiar. And Mrs. Foote was my teacher. And she brought me up on her lap every day while I cried. And she taught the class with me on her lap. And she was gentle and patient and kind. And I learned with Mrs. Foote that other people could love me too. Jump forward to 7th grade. Miss Hughes, the girls' club. She brought us on adventures. She brought us out in the world. And I saw much beyond my small circle of family influence. And I began to learn that I loved diversity. I loved seeing the world through somebody else's eyes. And in doing so, they opened my mind in a very big way. Karen Costa, high school field hockey coach, she taught me grit. She taught me to be strong and powerful. She taught me to pay attention to my teammates and know where they were. And she taught me that collaboration is many moving parts with plan and strategy accomplishing a goal. My outside circle expanded, and in 1975, entertainment was a big part of my world, and I met Big Bold Cher. Bold, confident, certain in who she was. As I watched her enjoy her boldness, I learned about a woman who had accepted herself fully. Meg Ryan, maybe you remember the orgasm scene in the coffee shop. My friends and I were cracking up about this. It was unbelievable. I couldn't believe she had the courage to do that in front of the other people in the coffee shop. And so from Meg, I learned about having shameless fun. Didn't matter what other people thought. Julia Roberts, the woman that gets freed from the limitation of her own thinking with a simple act of kindness. And so I learned about the power of kindness. And so it's time to take a look at the promises I made to myself. Can I have a drum roll, please? I want to live a life where I reach beyond what I already know. Yes. I want to realize the joy of the discovery along the way. And I want to revel in exploring life with other people who are also in love with life. Yeah! Woo! It was Nancy who got me thinking about the leaders who came before us, the influential women who got us to where we are today, those brilliant minds, beautiful spirits. She asked me to be interviewed on her quest. And I wondered about who was the woman behind Napoleon Hill in Think and Grow Rich. The concept is that every successful person has someone who loves them behind them, and that fostering of love it's one of the elements that brings success. And so I've been thinking about what I'd like to ask these influential leaders who are no longer here, but maybe influencing us still. And I would ask Rosalie, since they did divorce, how is it that you let go of someone that you have loved so fiercely? And her reply, I think, might be something like, romance and passion is the fuel of love. And when it is shared and fostered, it really sustains both people. And there's such power in love. Speaking of love, I fell in love with the spirit of Amelia Earhart. Talk about adventures. She did not let one single person get in the way of her dreams. And so my question to Amelia would be, how do you deal with feeling different than everybody else? Her response, I didn't. The surge of excitement that comes with a new adventure is what brings you forward and makes you reach for the next and the next adventure. And it's there that you find the other people that share that same joy. So there is no loneliness. Last is Marie Laveau. I went to New Orleans recently and I visited her tomb and I learned about her in a new way. I understood that she helped many people who were sick and she healed many people as well. And she was also misunderstood by many. And so my question to her would be, how do you accept being so misunderstood when you know you have an amazing gift? And her answer is that it saddens me when the depth of one's pain keeps them from the relief that they want. But when they reach a new place of understanding, the joy is so great that it supersedes the sadness every time. And so I invite you to consider, who are the women who came before you? Who are the women of your young life, your teenage years and your young adulthood? And what are the promises that you made to yourself along the way? Who are you surrounding yourself with today? How do you stretch beyond your comfort zone? And how do you invite diversity into your view? The more we can explore and investigate and discover in the ways that feel fun to us, the more we will find pieces of ourselves, our dreams, our wishes, and our desires. Our lessons may differ, but our sisterhood has been long-standing. And women today are looking for leaders, for powerful examples, for solutions like yours. Those that are found in your stories, your experiences, and your perspective of the world. The solutions that you know, but they can't see yet, those are the women that are reaching directly for you. And so my wish for all of us is to reach for the freedom of endless expansion, appreciating what you want to, what you can, and simply letting go of the rest. Reveling in the pleasure of life. Finding our tribe and surrounding ourselves with the people who are in love with the same kind of experiences that you are. And realizing the joy in the now. So go create your ripple. Whether it's personally or professionally, you all are making an impact. Much love to everybody.
Okay, let's hear it for Jodi Hickle. Let's hear it for Jodi Hickle. Awesome. Woo. Before you go, how do you feel? Like, look at her. She's excited. Shaking, vibrating. Like, we talk about being at a high energetic level. You're like, oh. Amazing, moved, inspired. Like, wow. So good. Go ride the high. Just go ride. Leave that here and go ride that high.